NCM Afrik-Ann.
Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In this channel I bring you tutorials on fashion DIYs from dressmaking, bag making and fashion accessories. So in today's tutorial I'll be showing how to make this simple circle dress with just 2 yards of your fabric. So without further ado, let's get started. All we need to make this circle dress is just our Ankara fabric and our bias tape for the strap. So I have about 2 yards of fabric here. So what I have here is exactly 2 yards of fabric. So I'm going to fold this into 2 equal parts first. I'm going to fold my 2 yards into 2. After folding my 2 yards into 2 equal parts, I'm going to fold this way again to form a triangle with it. Fold your material into a triangle like as I just did. So after folding your material into a triangle, we'll start placing our measurement. The 2 basic measurements we'll be needing for this dress is our bust measurement and our shoulder measurement. I'm going to start with my bust measurement. My bust is 36 inches. 36 divided by 4 will give me 9 inches. So I'll just measure my 9 inches. I'll just take my tape to where I can get 9 inches. So this is my 9 inches. I'm going to be adding at least ½ inch sewing allowance. You can add 1 inch. So this is my 9 inches around here. So I'm adding 1 inch sewing allowance to mine. So I'm going to use my ruler to connect my bust measurement. So after marking out my bust measurement, the next measurement I'm going to be taking is my shoulder measurement. My shoulder measurement is 14 inches. 14 inches divided by 2 will give me 7 inches. So this is where my 7 inches is. But I'll be subtracting 2 inches or 2.5 from my shoulder measurement because I do not want my strap falling off my shoulder. So you can use 2 inches depending on how close you want your strap to be. But I'll be using 2.5 inches because I want my strap to sit very well on my shoulders. So from my 7 inches I'm going to be subtracting 2.5 inches. So this is my shoulder measurement minus 2.5 inches. So from this 2.5 inches I'm going to go up by 4 inches. I'm going to go up by 4 inches. So from these 4 inches I'm going to be connecting this to my bust measurements like this. So I'm going to come back to my bust measurement and I'll go up by 2 inches. I'll go up by 2 inches. Then I'm going to connect. From my bust measurement I went up by 2 inches on the neckline. From my bust measurement I went up by 2 inches from my neckline. So I'm going to be connecting this to my neckline. So this is just all for the basic bodies. It's now time to get the length of our dress. So I'm going to place my tape here, just like the way we measure our off shoulder. When you're cutting your off shoulder, you know what to subtract. So it's either 5 or 6, but I'll be subtracting 4 inches because I don't want my dress to, I don't want the chest to be really exposed. I want the chest to come up a bit. So you can use 5, you can use 6 inches, but I think I'm just okay with 4 inches because I want my chest to be a little bit covered. So after placing, so I'm subtracting 4 just the way you do for your off shoulder. Whatever you usually subtract up when making your off shoulder, that is what you are going to be using, whatever that works for you. So 4, you can use 4, 5 or 6 depending on how low you want your neck to be. So I think 4 is okay for me. So from this I'm going to place my 4, I'm going to place my tape on this from 4 inches. So I'm going to take away 4 inches from here and I'll be making an arc with my tape. So depending on the amount of fabric I have, I think my fabric stops at 38. So I'll be marking from 38 inches. I'll be marking from 38 inches and I'll be making an arc. So So remember, my tape is I'm still holding my tape at my 4 inches. So I'm going to hold it there, and I'll be creating an arc. Creating an arc of 38 inches. And I'll continue like this. I'm just going to connect this. And I'll be cutting out. So I'm going to cut out my neck line. And I'll be cutting out my armhole. So remember, we still have this closed end. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this open. Our dress pattern is ready. You can see how full and well flared it's looking. So this is the neck of our dress. If you notice, it's not very wide. That is what my client wants. She doesn't want her neck, the neck of her dress, really wide. She wants it really narrow. So you can make yours wider depending on your preference, but my client wants hers really small. So, and this is the armhole. So I'm going to take this to my sewing machine, and I'll start fixing my bias. I'm going to start with sealing my neckline with my bias tape. I'm going to start from the wrong side of my fabric. Sealing my neckline with my bias tape, I'm just going to turn this to the wrong side again, and it's time to fix the strap. I'm going to be starting from the armhole. So at this point, remember the 4 inches we subtracted from the length of the dress. So this is where we are going to add it up. So this is my 4 inches. Remember the 4 inches we subtracted when taking our dress length. So I'm going to add another 4 inches for the front and the back. So this is what I'm talking about. So what I have here is 8 inches. So it's time to continue with the other parts of my dress. So remember, I started fixing this from the armhole, but for this other part, I'm going to continue from this shoulder and not from the armhole, just a continuation. So this is what I'm talking about. So I'm going to continue from the shoulder. So this is what we have. I'll just go ahead and close this up. So I'll bring my bias together like this and close up. is how to use bias tape to make straps on your circle dress. So the next thing we are going to do is to sew the two sides of our dress. Our circle dress is ready. See how beautiful it's looking on the mannequin. So this is just all for today's tutorial. Thanks for watching and see you in our next tutorial. Bye.